begin by sharing that when we were first planning this, I was very excited to partner with Francisque and Judy and John to pull this together. And within the span of a few minutes, the first two outbound emails were to Roger Penske and our next guest, Jim Campbell. I couldn't be more pleased to be able to speak with him. He's one of my favorite people and leaders in the sport. To me, these are the perfect bookends to this perfect week. That I would, and I particularly like Jim's background as he's coming on. He never fails.
Can you hear me, Paul?
Yes, I like what you got behind you there, Jim.
Yeah, can you hear me, Paul, or no?
Yes, you sound great.
Okay, great. Hey, great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to see you, Jim. It seems like 1,800 years ago that I saw you in Birmingham earlier this year.
I know, no question about it.
Yes, well,
I'm here at our General Motors Propulsion and Racing Center here in Pontiac, Michigan, and this is where Russell Blanus, who leads our effort here for all of our race programs, this team is based here, and we're attached to the General Motors Propulsion dyno cells and laboratories, and there's about 110 dyno cells of different sorts here, and we have our team's actually here in a number of the cells right now doing some testing as we speak, and some endurance testing and drivability, just about 25 steps from where I'm at right now. So it's great to be with you here from Pontiac, Michigan.
Oh, Jim, I'm just so jealous. You have one of the coolest jobs in the world.
Well, we're all lucky to be in the performance and racing industry. You wake up every day. It is fun. There's no doubt.
It is, and there's one of my favorite race cars behind you over your shoulder too. It's staring at me.
Yeah, that's the obviously the C7. That's the number 4 C7R, Oliver Gavin and Tommy Milner. Obviously, we moved on now to the mid-engine, the C8R, and then over on this side we've got I don't know if you can see it or not, but we have the Copo Camaro, and Copo has a long, amazing history, and we kind of brought it back to life in 2012, and it's been really fun to be racing in the stock eliminator super stock categories with the Copo.
Well, yeah, and I remember seeing it at I think it was SEMA show a few years back. But let's first off, you have a great title, Vice President of GM Performance and Motorsports. That covers a lot of stuff, but I don't think most people realize you also are responsible for strategy and product marketing for Chevrolet and GMC trucks and accessories as well. I was surprised to learn that. I didn't know that. I went to visit you one day and I found that out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There, for sure, the performance and racing piece is really fun. We connect really racing on the track with our high performance variants on track or off road, depending on whether we're talking car or truck. And also in the middle of that's performance parts. So we really link racing performance parts and high performance variants together, and really try to learn on the track and drive those learnings back over into the production vehicles and our propulsion systems. And then I do have some other responsibilities, and so it's really fun to work on our truck business. And really the two ends of the business I just love so much. I love performance, I love racing, and I love the pickup truck business. So we do what we call product marketing, others call it product planning, where we're basically doing all the packaging and the offering for our Silverados and Sierras from Chevy and GMC. We also do the full-size utilities, things like Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon XL, Denali's. We work with our sister brand at Cadillac on things like Escalade. So it's really a fun job. And then accessories has just been a growing area of our business. And when you go to places like SEMA, accessories is an amazing growth area for our business. And it's a way for customers to really make their vehicle their own and make it, personalize it, customize it, enhance performance, which we love, and capability. And so I love going to work every day with our team, and it's interesting every moment.
Well, it looks to me like you've got the keys to the toy store.
Well, the other interesting thing, and I don't know if you can see this in here, over to my right is actually the propulsion system we put in our eCopo in 2018.
Yeah, I remember that.
Obviously there's a lot going on in the industry, and electrification is part of what's happening. And So, several years ago, we electrified the Copo. We weren't sure what the reaction was going to be, and it was an amazing reaction. And we had a chance to work with Nhra to do a lot of demo runs, and it was really a great learning experience for us. And then over on this side of our little showroom here, we have our E10, which is we electrified a C10 with the kind of our next generation of our electric crate propulsion system. It's a concept right now, but we're getting closer and closer to offering an actual e-crate system to individuals that want to do a conversion or resto mod and electrify it. So it's really kind of a cool thing that we're working on in addition to all the awesome racing stuff.
Well, all of it's awesome. I'm just like, it's literally like you're in Santa's workshop and you're standing around. And the thing that I think so interesting, and one of the reasons I so wanted you to join us, first off, I always enjoy our time together, and I always learn something when we get together and talk. And but your passion is obvious whenever we talk. It's you do like what love actually what you do. I can tell. And the thing that it strikes me though is you're dealing with one of the mainline profit drivers for one of the world's largest corporations when you're dealing with these trucks. Americans love trucks. They love Chevy trucks, and they love GMC trucks. They love these things at the core of the business that you're involved with strategy and marketing on, and you're touching motorsport. I thought it would be really important to have you be part of this panel, and it's really important that you be part of this last session in this amazing week, because you have eyes on the future. You just showed us something that really is the future, which is these e-crate motors, and you see the business in a 360-degree view. And I have to ask you, this has been one of the toughest years on one level that we've all encountered. But you look like you're happy and energized and enthusiastic. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think we're lucky, first of all, to work in an amazing industry and to think about what a challenging year it was. And yet virtually every race series got back on the track. They raced almost a full season or a full season. We started with no fans and then kind of migrated to some partial attendance with fans. And it was an amazing year as we finished up. And I would say that I'm also energized by the fact that while this pandemic has been most challenging and continues to be, and we literally, shut down, the country and the world, if you will, and on a business perspective, shut down our factories for 2.5 months. That was very challenging. What's been really encouraging is we've kind of come back from that, from the kind of, May, June timeframe. We've actually seen the automobile market start to come back. It's really exciting. People still have a need for cars and trucks and crossovers, for parts and accessories, and the business is really coming back. And in fact, we cannot build enough vehicles for the demand that's out there right now. So the great news is our factories are back and running. We're running, 2-3 shifts full out to get the product to our dealers, to get to our customers. And so I'm energized for that reason. But I'm also energized because while the pandemic created such a challenging moment, which continues in many ways, it also really required everybody to reassess our businesses and what we were doing and what we needed to stop doing and what we needed to focus more on. And so that's happened throughout our entire business, as it has for probably yours and everybody you've had on the panel. And for us, one of the things we did during that reassessment is we looked at, for example, when we're doing activations in motorsports, how do we do it when the fans aren't at the track? So it had to go virtual and social and engage customers in different ways. And then at a very macro level, we saw that customers, as you would expect, they didn't really want to go into showrooms to shop for vehicles for the obvious concerns. So they started shopping more online. Well, we've been developing many online shopping tools for many years. They're getting better and better, but the demand for the best shopping tools online, to get an online shopping experience, buying experience, bring a vehicle out to a house for a test drive, make sure it's sanitized and clean, and then transact and deliver a vehicle in a more virtual way, is an area we were heading towards.
Yeah.
it's been turbocharged. It's happening. It's going to be a way of business. It is. We pivoted. The pivot's happened. Certainly, people are still going to go to dealerships, but a lot of people want to shop online for everything, including cars and trucks. And so that's one area. And then, but there's many other areas in our business we reassessed and we made changes that I believe are more permanent in nature.
Yes, and and I'm sure your racer mentality didn't hurt in the part of the business you were touching because you're used to urgency and
Exactly.
solving problems quickly. Yeah, and your team is as well. And I couldn't think of a better person to be connected to that process actually.
Great. Yeah, and for sure. I mean, the racer mentality, we love it. The speed of racing, as you know, and everybody who's been on your panel and many of the folks viewing, the green flag's dropping on Saturday or Sunday, ready or not. So let's go. Let's get ready. And
Right,
that's
yeah.
the kind of, you have to move fast. You have to problem solve quickly. You have to innovate quickly, as you do in racing and during this past year, especially in our business.
Well, I've had the privilege of watching you in action for some time, and I can make the statement you were born ready from what I can see. So the the thing that also struck me about this time is that, and we've talked about it in other panels, so some people have watched all this, going to hear me repeat a few things, but yeah, I'm sure you've been too busy to watch this, but we saw a phenomenon this year that we went into it like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? We had great momentum. We had a great surge of energy in January and February. Our audience for both the Rolex and the Daytona 500 soared. We just, we're on a roll. We're going to, we were planning our next trip on the private jet, and all of a sudden this hits. And we're going to lose the audience. And you know what? We didn't. Actually, the audience, a little bit nervous, I think, because it went down a little bit. Then we put in the esports came in. NASCAR rolled out some really innovative things in esports. Like, you have live ESPN broadcast of esports racing.
Amazing. That was amazing.
And it was amazing. And our audience was consuming the content as if it was not virtual, it was physical racing on a racetrack. They were arguing about it, sharing it, reading the stories. And then we start to get into actual on-track activity, and in an earlier session, I said it was emotional when NASCAR rolled and came back. It was like a post 9/11 moment, at least for us racing people. It was extremely emotional knowing what went into it. What did you feel in that moment when you saw your cars roll onto the racetrack and hear their motors and hear the sport come back to life? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. You're right. The iRacing really gave people something to focus on, and I think it really engaged people in a way that they didn't know a simulated game could be. And I think that of course, a lot of our drivers use simulation as a way to prepare. We've got big simulators available to our drivers, but it really engaged everybody. The time we got back to the track, and a lot of credit to NASCAR for really working every single day, 24 hours a day, to figure out how to get back in a safe way, working with states and municipalities and local governments to make it happen. It was a big deal. It was awesome. And they were one of the first sports back, if not the first. And many followed. Certainly the first motorsports back. It was just incredible. And finally, we had some live, real racing to consume and enjoy, and focus on competition versus all the things going on in the world. It was a great moment, but it was also an odd moment in the fact that there was no fans in the stands, as we all know. And so there was also a similar moment when NASCAR and other series figured out, working with the states and municipalities, to get some fans back in a safe way. And it tended to be, a portion of the capacity. That was also a big moment because finally some fans got to come back to the track. And as people in the industry, to see fans there was a big deal. Because in the end, there's a lot of great reasons to race on the technical side and tech transfer and, building engineering capability. But the fans was what make this thing go around. Because in the end, it's a great platform to show, what we have and compete on an amazing stage with awesome competitors, other manufacturers, other teams. And so the fans are also our customers. And so that's why that was so awesome.
I agree. And I actually seen you interact with fans in public before. You really have a lot of time for them. You appreciate them. Uh,
There's
and
no doubt. They are the reason why we were able to race. That's it. And there's a lot of other benefits as we talked about for racing, but the fans are so very important. You know, one of my first jobs at Chevy when I joined the Chevrolet team was on Corvette and Camaro, and we started the race program, which was the C5R back in 1999. And I literally on Corvette, and there's other brands in the industry that are similar. They're so passionate. The owners are so passionate, and they gather together on the weekends and car clubs. And so I was spending a lot of time with our car clubs and our customers. Then the race program came, and I'll never forget it. It was January of '99, and we had a massive a Corvette club. We had probably 350 Corvette owners that brought their Corvettes to the kind of the backstretch, a big parking lot behind the backstretch of Daytona. And we had a chance to visit with all of them. We literally spent, you know, the whole morning with them, the whole weekend with them, the whole 24 hours of the race. And they had a chance before the race to actually drive their Corvettes on the actual track the race was going to be on. It was just a great moment. That happens many times during the year. And what we love about the interaction with our customers is you get to know them. You get to know what they love about our products, what they hate about our products. You get to open your eyes and see the things they're doing where they've created their own workarounds to solve different issues or, you know, handle something that I remember the C5, we had those real shallow cup holders, and our customers had created their own solutions. And so it was a signal to me and my partner, Dave Hill, who was the chief engineer at the time, like, we got to solve that. But we did that at these customer events, and many of which were attached to the most exciting races that you could be at. And those our customers stayed up with us all night long at the 24 hours of Daytona in 1999. And it was just a great start to that race program, but it started with our owners, with our owners and our race fans.
Well, yes, and I've moved through the Corvette Corral and been with your owners. Just I want to go see what people feel. I do what I do because I love sharing the sport with people, and wow, they are passionate. They are so into the brand, into the vehicles, into the moment of being at these races, and it gives me hope for humanity. It's great to see the energy that you generate. It's like a force field within the internal. It's like the engine of sports car racing.
It is. It really is. And by the way, at a place like Daytona, and you know this from Sebring and every, you know, great sports car track around the country and the world, there are similar things happening with other brands. So I'm not saying it's just happening with us, but it is. It just starts with our customers. You get a chance to know them, what they love, what they want in their products. Get a chance to get to know them, and then also really, you know, get to enjoy the race program with them. And they are lifelong Corvette race fans and supporters that came from that very first race that are still supporting us today.
It's not a surprise to me. And of course, there are other companies doing this. And I think one of the nice things about this, I referred to it earlier today, is the greatest rivalry and maybe in American sports is Ford versus Chevy, to me.
Well, hey, Paul, I just want to tell you something right now. I'm getting texts from my friend Mark Rushbrook, who I think is watching. So hi to Mark.
Hi, Mark.
And we go to a lot of these OEM meetings together, but we're fierce competitors on the track. And of course, our companies are fierce competitors in the showroom. There's a lot of other OEMs that we compete with every single day on the track. And we do get to know them a bit at the racetrack as well.
You do. And I think that what's fantastic about it, you know, you're part of the reason people care. I mean, I was a young person. I noticed the brands. I noticed the cars. You know, the first 2 new cars I bought were Chevrolet products because of racing. And I bought a lot of Ford products as well. But, you know, Ford quit racing, and I would, forgive the phrase, pissed off. So, you know, I'm going to go with a company still doing stuff, you know, and I think that what was interesting was that when I was down at Daytona, I think this year or last year, it started to dawn on me that the Corvette is like more than another car. It is an American hero. It's something that represents our country and our spirit to the world. And, you know, you feel it at Le Mans when you're there. I've been there and seen the reaction to the Corvette. So you're the, you know, if you will, you're the caretaker of this legend and you give life to it and renewing it every now and again. But I want to just say this was a hell of a renewal year for that particular hero. You want to talk to us about the gestation and what happened on the racetrack this year with the C8R?
Yeah, no question. Well, you said it pretty well. I mean, Corvette's a very special mark. It is a total team effort, and there are many passionate people inside our company that caretake that product to make sure it's the best that it can be, and the brand, what it stands for, what we deliver to our customers, and we try to exceed their expectations every time we bring a new model or special edition out. And so, as I mentioned earlier in our discussion, we came back into racing with Corvette. There's been many privateers over the years, and of course, back in the 60s, there was I think a lot of efforts to support racers from the factory quietly. But in 1999, we brought back the full factory effort, working with Pratt & Miller, an amazing partner, and just debuting that program and all the preparation that happened. It was an amazing process. And someday there'll be a book written about it, I hope. And we had it, that debut race and it was in January 99. It was amazing because that car, the two cars actually did quite well for the first 18 hours. And our customers and fans were so excited. And then, as you know, in racing, particularly endurance with a new vehicle, new race car, we started having issues, but we persevered, we hustled, we worked as a team, and we ended up finishing on the podium for our very first race. And it was the beginning of an amazing journey. And so that was C5R, and then C6R came, C7R, and obviously this year the C8R, which was just an amazing debut year. While we didn't win the first race of the year, we learned a lot in that race, and then from there on, it's been an amazing season. And so the C8R, finally a mid-engine Corvette. It's something that every chief engineer, from Nhra to Dave McClellan to Dave Hill to Tom Wallace to Ted Juchter, wanted to do many times. And there's many prototypes and study cars that we did over the years to prove it out and the benefits of it. And I'm so proud of Ted Juchter, Mark Royce, but our design team, Tom Peters and John Cafaro, those guys are now retired, but everybody in our system and our propulsion team who's based here in Pontiac, just an amazing job to come together and make the mid-engine Corvette happen for production and then racing. And so this year was an amazing year. We'll never forget it. Resulted in 6 wins and a championship for the team, for the drivers, Antonio Garcia and Jordan Taylor, and then obviously for the manufacturer, for Chevrolet. So couldn't be prouder, but it's been decades in the making, and we're so proud of the team.
It does. It fulfills almost destiny. It's interesting. It happens in the most unusual year, but one of the things I have to say, Jim, is that the online energy, the audience energy, as I was getting at, it soared, and we had really high traffic numbers. IMSA is one of our primary categories of coverage, along with NASCAR and IndyCar and Formula One, and it did really well this year, despite there not being fans at a lot of the races. And I got to tell you, we believe that just our team, we believe the Corvette's one of the drivers of passion for that sport. You are one of the. We can tell by shares, we can tell by just general interest and commenting on stories about your team and about your car. Your car's entered, and the personality of the team is something that overall that's defining for the sport. There's I wouldn't call it a swagger, but there's a way about this team that is got a cool factor.
The never give up attitude by that team.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
There is. I mean, I literally know all of the team members of the Pratt & Miller Corvette racing team, and I could say something, about almost every one of them. But there is a esprit de corps. There is a never give up attitude. There are so many stories of moments where we just had to come together as a team to overcome an issue. You think about what happened in 2015 at Le Mans, where we lost one car in the qualifying, and the car was not recoverable. Thank goodness Jan Magnussen was okay. And what the team did with the remaining car is they rallied behind one car. And having one car at Le Mans is not an easy task to have a chance to get to the top of the podium. And the team did it. But they rallied together, every one of those individuals that was at Le Mans with us. So we love the team at Pratt Miller and what they've accomplished. And not only the championships with, each generation of the car, but you talked about Le Mans and kind of the American spirit that comes from a manufacturer based here competing there, especially Corvette. And the stories and the experiences we've had at Le Mans have just been incredible. And I've had a chance to be there many times with our team. And what you said, the Corvette, it has a following at Le Mans that is even beyond the owners. There are people that have fallen in love with the Corvette. And so that's very special to go there and hear the support that Corvette gets when we compete at Le Mans. And I'm proud of the team in their class. They won it 8 times and had a chance to stand with their drivers on the top of the podium for the GTE Pro category. And when the national anthem plays, it's an amazing moment. And so proud of the team. And what you realize is that having an accomplishment like that is really only a result of competing against the best in the world. And at Le Mans, you compete against the best in the world. The same things for Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. Compete against the best of the world. When you win, it's meaningful.
It is meaningful. And I think that, a few years back, I think in 2015, I spoke at the FIA Sport Conference, and I said, this is, I think what I said is we're more than the entertainment business. We're in the inspiration business. And that's what I feel about Corvette racing. Corvette racing is truly an inspiring endeavor. It's more than just a race team. It represents more than just a race. It represents our country to the world. And I was sad that we couldn't see Corvette at Le Mans this year. And I do hope you return to Le Mans with Corvette racing, and I do hope you win, just because of who I am and I follow that team. I have one team that I root for. I'm not supposed to root for anybody, but I root for the yellow cars, and they represent me to the world. And tell me about that. Tell me about going back to Le Mans.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very difficult decision. We had competed at Le Mans for since 2000. So we hadn't missed a year, and we didn't miss, any year, even when we had the economic challenges of 08, 09, 10, we still stayed at it. And this year we had to make a very difficult decision, and having that discussion with the ACO was not an easy one. But given everything that was going on and the fact that there was just what was going on in the country, what was going on with our company. We literally had none of our factories were running at all. And it was a decision we had to make at the time. It was difficult because we love it, like so many people do love that race, whether they're Corvette fans or not. So our hope is that we have an opportunity to go back again. And so that's our hope. It's a race by invitation. You have to be invited to go. And so our hope is that we'll have that opportunity again. And it will be a very proud moment to be able to compete with the C8R there, a mid-engine Corvette that Zora dreamed of, that Dave McClellan dreamed of, that Tom Wallace dreamed of, and Dave Hill and Tad Structor. And Tad Structor, made it happen. So I'd be very proud, and we all would here at our company at Chevrolet and GM, to compete again at Le Mans.
And since I was very young, I've dreamed of that mid-engine Corvette going to Le Mans too.
Yes.
So I think that yes, and that is to me, that's one of the greatest success stories of this season. This was that is victory through the darkness, and I think that's it's something that has inspired me and given me joy during the course of this year, and given me hope. And I for many, I think it's the same. At the same time, I want to go to NASCAR for a moment, because you have 2 eras, one ending and one beginning. And let's talk about Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, what does this mean to you and to everybody in the Chevrolet family that Jimmy is
amazing guy. Jimmy's track record with Chevrolet, people know mainly from NASCAR, but it started well before that. Some know the story, others don't, but her official who did a job similar to the one that I do in the racing side, had an opportunity to go to a number of these off-road truck races and spotted a guy named Jimmy Johnson, a young driver, and made the connection, made the decision to sign him to be one of our drivers on our off-road truck program at Chevrolet. And that was the beginning of an amazing set of chapters with Jimmy Johnson that went through a number of the off-road series that you're probably familiar with. Mm-hmm. And he did an incredible job. Then he migrated to other series, ASA, then eventually into the Busch series, or now what we call Xfinity. And then he eventually made it to the Cup series. And so for us, the Cup series is an amazing accomplishment, 7 championships, all of his race wins. But for Chevrolet, the legacy goes well beyond that. We've known Jimmy since he was a young guy. So the other thing, people sometimes ask me, what's Jimmy Johnson like? He is a first-class guy. He's a delightful guy. He's wonderful. He's an intense competitor. He prepares like nobody that I have seen. And he is a driver that, in his own way, can lead from behind the steering wheel. And the results are incredible, from off-road trucks to ASA to the Busch Series to Cup. And so it was kind of bittersweet to see him with his last race, but we celebrate everything he's done in his career. And he has more aspirations. As you know, he's going to IndyCar. And I believe today I saw the press release. We did announce formally that Jimmy's going to be driving with Action Express and with Gary Nelson and Rick Hendrick, with some amazing lineup of drivers. And so Jimmy Johnson has raced at Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona a number of times with us. And we cannot wait for him to race in our Cadillac DPI at the end of January.
I can't wait either. It's great watching Jimmy race. And I met Jimmy early on when he was, before he was racing with Chevrolet and before Herb, but had connected with him. And, I had a great respect for Herb, and Herb's been a big influence on me personally and taught me so much about the business of racing and being forward looking. But that perhaps I think one of the greatest gifts beyond his contributions to safety and thinking outside the box was giving the sport of top level racing Jimmy Johnson, because he's been a terrific champion, and he was great fun. When I first met him, we were connected to a company called No Fear, which made clothing, and we used to race in a parking lot. And one of the highlights of my life was all these drivers would come in, and Jimmy showed up, and he went a little better than some of us because he respected the circumstance and figured out how to be fast and win. But he was terrific as a person. Yes,
first class guy.
And I remember he wanted to be an IndyCar. He wanted to be Rick Mears.
Yes, Rick Mears was a Nhra.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
So Jimmy was going to test with a number of teams in IndyCar. We gave him permission to test with whoever in the series, because we just respect him so much, and he has a desire to race in IndyCar. And so he had a test set up with Arrow McLaren and a number of other teams. And so then the pandemic hit, and a lot of that kind of it didn't happen. He ended up obviously aligning with Chip Ganassi, and Chip's an amazing guy. We raced with him on the NASCAR side, and we have in the past raced with Chip in IndyCar, and had a championship with Scott Dixon in 2015, I believe it was. And so he landed at a good spot. But he's a great guy. I just have one quick story, if I could.
Yeah, please.
Jimmy, we shot a commercial with Jimmy, and it was called My Best Drive. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but
yeah,
we highlighted this. The commercial was 30 seconds, and we had the clip of Jimmy when, I think it was in the Busch Series, when he lost the brakes and literally at 150 miles an hour ran into this massive tire barrier, got out of the car, stood on the roof of the car, and said, I made it. I'm here. Let's go racing. And then he talked about in the off-road truck series some amazing, scary moments. And then he reflected on his best drive was bringing his daughter home in his new Tahoe from the hospital. And so But just to see those clips of him in his younger days was just amazing. And then he's been a great partner of Chevy's all that time. That's just one commercial we did with him.
No, and I think the thing about Jimmy is he's just, I think, likable, and there's not a hint of arrogance about him and all he's accomplished. He's still very much the person I met, so I'm always surprised. But he seems, he's matured, of course, but he has a humanity and a dignity to him that he respects people and respects his family comes first, and his extended family at Hendrick obviously was a big part of this success.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, and I want to talk just briefly there. One of my dreams is to see Jimmy at Le Mans sometime. I think he would.
Okay.
So if you can make that happen, just
Okay.
I'll be on board with that. I'll buy a plane ticket and go watch that. But just a request.
Just to finish up the NASCAR piece, and I think this is kind of where you might have been going with Chase, the champion, and we have a Chevrolet photographer that goes to the track. Each OEM gets one photographer to go to the track to get shots during the race that we then feed to the crew chiefs. If they think they have damage on a front fender or what have you, we have one photographer that's there. And our photographer at Chevy actually captured one of the shots that was kind of the most popular shot of Jimmy and Chase doing a high five, kind of one car going one way, one the other. It's amazing. It was our Chevy photographer, and I'm so happy he caught the moment, because those guys appreciated it, what it meant. And it was an actual and a symbolic passing of the torch. And that's a picture that I'm going to have it framed. There's no doubt about it. And I want to send one to both those guys because it was a special moment.
It was a special moment. That passing of the torch, we could see it in the energy around Chase Elliott winning this championship. He is an optimistic new dawn for NASCAR, his championship. And with the new cars coming, the rapid movement to make these decisions to embrace more road courses, realign schedule, bring out the next gen car, look at the hybrids, just so many things happening at once in rapid fire in NASCAR, not the NASCAR I grew up with. But I'm optimistic, and we've seen our NASCAR audience energy and audience growth and social media sharing. And I used a phrase earlier when I was talking to Mark Rushbrook. I was like, somebody hit NASCAR with defibrillator paddles somewhere early in the year, and it like, boom, and it came alive. Like, it's alive. And all of a sudden there's energy there, and we see it in our metrics.
That's great.
And I think that also people not being able to go to a racetrack like they normally, it makes them realize what they've lost.
Right. It's a great point.
Yeah, but you have, a lot of young talent coming through, and you had success in, Xfinity this year and in the Gander Truck Series. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, no doubt it was, we actually obviously have a long history in NASCAR. In the past few years, we've had some challenges in the Cup side. There's no doubt about it, and for a number of reasons. But this year was really great. We had obviously the Drivers' Championship in the Truck Series. That was fantastic. Manufacturers' Championship there. The Xfinity race, came down to Justin Allgaier and Cindric. An amazing final lap. Could have gone either way. Obviously, Austin won that, did a great job. Justin, had a shot at it, but we did win the Xfinity Championship, Manufacturers' Championship. And then the Cup Series, it was, Chase, came on really strong here at the end of the season and won the couple key races. And in racing, in the end, that's what you have to do. You have to win when it matters. And he did that, obviously, at Martinsville with an incredible, back against the wall win, and then went into Phoenix. And I mean, those three drivers he was racing against they're pretty incredible with Joey and Brad and Denny. And I'll tell you, I'm so proud of Chase and Alan Gustafson, everybody at Hendrick that prepared the cars, prepared the race strategy, executed the race. He had speed. He drove as you saw, from the back of the field to the front. Led a lot of laps, but believe me, the 2 and the 22 were swinging away. And the 11, 11 always is got, the ability to drive up to the front. So I'm really proud of what they did. And he hardly put a wheel wrong. There was only one moment during the race where Chase was leading. He pitted a lap before Logano.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Logano came in, I think the lap or two after, and came out ahead of Chase. We're like, what happened? And that was the only moment in the whole race where that obviously in the back half of the race, at least, that we had to climb back again, and he did. He got by the two and went on to win it. So Chase Elliott is incredible. And here's another quick story, if you don't mind. I had a chance. I was working at Chevrolet. This is probably 10 years ago, and working in the division, running our division at Chevy. And I was on Saturday preparing for a big dealer meeting where we're going to show them a lot of our new cars and crossovers and trucks. And so we're preparing kind of our messaging and all that. And I get a call from Rick Hendrick on a Saturday afternoon, about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. And he says, "Hey, I just signed a 14-year-old by the name of Chase Elliott." I said, 14? First of all, I knew Chase Elliott. I knew the Elliott name. I didn't necessarily know Chase. And he said, 14? So tell me a little bit about him. So he told me about him. And, he was showing great potential. And Rick made the call, as Rick does often, to sign him at 14. So here we are, it's, almost 10 years later, and he wins a championship. He obviously won an Xfinity championship along the way. So just an amazing moment, and it's been really fun to watch him grow along the way.
And, the thing he's grown as well is there's something about that family that, they represent the fan base really well. The fan base looks to them and say that this is me, this is who I am, this is what I believe in. And the energization of just his personal, he had his own set of defibrillators too at the end of the season. He did, and it's like, all right, okay, I can worry a little less about all that now. That seems like it's kind of going the right direction. And the thing that I think that, it's all about people, and it truly is. And losing somebody like Jimmy to go off to do something else, it's a renewal. Racing's renewal. And, and I think it's a good segue. You've got NHRA, which you're synonymous with NHRA. And I just want to talk a little bit about what you got going on.
Yeah, NHRA, this past year, Erica Enders, as you know, in the pro stock area, so we got some people coming in the building here. Erica Enders won her fourth pro stock championship. And so that was amazing. The first time a woman has won 4 championships in NHRA, Erica Enders did it. She's an amazing racer, completely focused. She knows how to lead a team, and absolutely a great job. And obviously in the stock eliminator or the factory showdown category, we had a Copo Camaro driver win the championship there. That was awesome. And then we're looking forward to having John Force Racing back next year in Top Fuel and Funny Car. We missed them. I think the series missed them.
We missed them too.
And we're looking forward to having him back, along with all of the racers, Robert Hyde and Austin Prock and Brittany. So they're great partners.
Yes, and one of the things we talked about earlier is that NHRA is where women first became championship caliber, winning competitors, which it's on our agenda. This is an agenda we shared first with Herb Fischel, I think, in 1994. We had items on the racer agenda, but when women are equal in every way to men, and especially in racing, I think the sport would grow exponentially if women were directly competitive. And your thoughts on that? You have a female champion there that's 4 times over, really a star. Yeah. What do you see for women in motorsport going forward?
Yeah, no question. Obviously, Erica Enders, Brittany Force also won a championship, and that was an amazing. The way she won that championship was incredible. And as it always comes down to the last race in our sport, her team working together delivered when it mattered the most. And so she brought another championship to John Force Racing and added one to Chevrolet. So we couldn't have been prouder of that. But absolutely, we need more women in racing. And when I say in racing, not only behind the wheel, engineers, race strategists, designers, working in the shop, those kinds of things. So there's no doubt we need that, and we need it in every one of our sports. There's no doubt about it. We've had some success in when we first came back in IndyCar. There were 3 women that were in the sport, and that has dwindled. We've got to come back and have more women in our sport. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, IndyCar's less for not having women competitors and women team ownership, everything. It needs it. And I think that, I just think you're in the automotive business. What is the impact of women in purchase decision for automobiles? And
it's 80%. It's
yeah,
80% of the decisions are made by or influenced by women. And then in our company, our CEO, Mary Barra, leads the entire company. There's so many talented women in our company that are leading critical areas of our business. So, and I have a niece who is 15. I want her to have people to, in our sport, to look towards as potential role models, whether it's behind the wheel or an engineer or strategist or somebody, helping manage a team or market a team. So that's what I'd like to see more of, for sure.
I'm with you, Jim. And, I know that's how you are. And I think that this is just the greatest single opportunity to exponentially grow the sport.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
And I want to talk a little bit about Cadillac too. We've got Cadillac is, Chip Ganassi's team's going to be running a Cadillac.
I know, it's great. We've had a great run with Cadillac in the IMSA series in DPI. It's been great. Now this past year we didn't win the championships, but our teams, I'm so proud of them. And think about Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. We've had a lot of success there. 4 out of the past 5 years. Number of championships since we've returned. Didn't earn one this year, with the exception of the Endurance Cup, which was won by Wayne Taylor. Which proud of that, but we want to go for the manufacturers championships and the drivers championships for sure. So we just announced Chip Ganassi, who we know well. We've raced with him obviously in NASCAR for a long time. Had several years in IndyCar with him. He is an amazing team owner, and so we did create a program with him, and they're going to debut in January this year with a great lineup of great drivers. So I couldn't be prouder. And you saw that Kevin Magnussen's going to join from F1, and of course we know Kevin because we knew him when he was a young boy, the son of Jan Magnussen, who was one of our most successful Corvette racers. So can't wait to see Chip Ganassi racing on the track with Cadillac. And
we're going to see each other probably next month with our masks on.
Yes.
But and I want to talk a little bit about what's going on. We touched on IndyCar, but what the greatest audience energy we've seen has been in IndyCar this year, and really last year. We've seen crazy growth in audience and our digital and sharing and so on and so forth. And it's just, there's something going on there. We can see it in metrics. And we've had the adoption of the aero screen. We had a very competitive season. You guys were right down to the wire, for team and driver championships, and just you were in the hunt all the way through. We've got another, you signed up for the next era of.
We did.
Yeah. Tell us what drove that decision, and share with us what you think about what's happened with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the series under Rogers' control.
Well, you probably know the story. You know where I'm going to go. I mean, for Chevrolet, Indianapolis is pretty special. I mean, it's Louis Chevrolet, the co-founder of our company. Him and his brothers raced at Indy. And so when we go to Indy, it feels more like a home track just because of that.
Yeah.
And so Chevrolet's had a lot of involvement over the years, a lot of success in Indy in the series and at the 500. And we love the racing. We absolutely love the racing. And we see the growth that's happening in IndyCar. We rejoined the series in 2012. We won a whole number of manufacturers and drivers championships. 4 Indy 500 since we have returned. I think a total of 16 since we've been in the sport. So it's been really exciting to be in that in the IndyCar series. There are, in every series there's a special race. The Indianapolis 500 is one of the most special in the entire world, period. It's the pre-race, it's the intense competition, it's the if you win it, it means everything. If you come in second or worse, you're devastated for a year. And so we love the racing there. And so obviously, you know, a lot of confidence in Mark Miles and Jay Fry. You know, Roger Penske obviously, you know, owns the series now and the Speedway, and Bud Denker. The list goes on. We have a lot of confidence in them in terms of building that series. And we've been looking at making the commitment for the next engine cycle, which is a 2.4 liter direct injected twin turbo. And we did make the commitment and announced it. We announced it actually together with Honda. And you know, I said this earlier, when you win big races, part of the reason why it's meaningful is you beat incredible competition, and you don't win every year. So when you win, it's a special thing. And so whether we're racing Honda or Ford or Toyota or Ferrari or Porsche or BMW, depending on the series we're in, it's meaningful. So we actually announced it together. Mark Royce came down and made the announcement, and the folks from Honda were there. And so it was actually a great statement of confidence for the IndyCar series by a couple of manufacturers that have a lot of history in that sport.
Well, as someone who's you know, devoted to the Indy 500 and the Indy 500 and IndyCars fueled my passion for the entire time I've been interested in the sport. Thank you. You know, and I was at the original announcement at the SEMA show when her official, you know, back in what was 1986 or 85. It was a long time ago, and to me, that was the beginning of this modern era of IndyCar racing. That was when it clicked into being a real thing that had all this going for it. But you know, we're nearly to the end of our time, but I just want to have one last question for you. You know, when you've looked at everything you've done in this sport, you know, what is the most significant memory and the thing that you value the most out of the entire time you've been working in motorsport?
Wow, that is a tough question. There's so many. They happen literally every week in racing.
Mm-hmm.
In any weekend we're racing, we may be racing in 3, 4, 5 different places somewhere in the country or around the world. And so for me, the teamwork and the ability to overcome problems, obstacles, failures, and then climb back up, get in a groove, get the trajectory of a car, a team, a driver going the right way, and then get back in the winner's circle, get back to the top of the podium. To me, those are the moments, the whole process of that. And it cycles. When you're on top, you are working like crazy to stay there and keep the momentum. When you're not, you feel the responsibility to dig in and figure out root cause, why not, and then fix it fast. So for me, those experiences happen, you know, throughout the season. There are certainly special moments at some of those races we talked about, whether it's Daytona 500 or the Indianapolis 500 or the 24 Hours Le Mans, that I will never forget. But for me, in every instance, I think about it, and I think about the teams that were involved and what it took to get on top. And then importantly in racing, there's only one winner every weekend in a race. So that means there's a lot of people who didn't win. And so your ability to handle not winning by focusing the energy forward to the positive, to how to fix it and how to get back on top, that cycle is a must in racing. And that process, I love it. I love it.
You, sir, are a racer. There's no cure for that, by the way.
Figure it out.
That is a great answer, actually.
You are too, a racer.
Yes, and that was very inspiring. And you know, back to my quote, we're in the inspiration business, and you, sir, inspire me, and the things you do and the people you work with are inspiring to me. And thank you for the friendship you've shown our company and my team over the years, and the respect you've shown us. I really appreciate it.
You're
very welcome. Yeah.
Paul, you're a friend of the industry. When we have questions, we often call you. I've done it many times to learn. We'll continue to do it. So thank you for holding this forum over the week, having me here. I'm here representing our team. it is about the team. There's so many people that help us do what we do every day. And so thank you for letting me represent everybody at Chevrolet, Cadillac, and General Motors here. And thanks for hosting this forum. It's great to be with you.
And thank you for being what I wanted you to be, which was the final word on our sport. And you summed it up beautifully. Actually, your comments here at the very end were probably the most appropriate words we could close this spectacular week with. And the people that have come on screen here, I am also in awe of. They've been part of our extended family and team all week long, and it was an honor to work with them. And they know how excited I was when you said yes. Because I just know your passion is going to come to the surface here, and we're all going to feel it. And thank you very much, Jim, for putting the exclamation on the end of the sentence, Online Race Industry Week, exclamation point, powered by Jim Campbell.
Well, hey, thank you for having us on. We can't wait to go racing in 2021. We're weeks away.
Yeah, well, we're going to see you at a racetrack soon. And
I hope so.
Good luck to you in the yellow cars.
There we go. Mid-engine yellow cars. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Well, Paul, what a week.
Yeah, that didn't suck.
That's for sure, it did not. You know, if you look back, we started Monday morning at 6:45 here in Los Angeles with Mr. Roger Penske. And it is 5 p.m. here again in Los Angeles, and we just ended Online Race Industry Week with Jim Campbell, Mr. Chevrolet, racing, at Chevrolet. So in between, we had 5 incredible days, 55 hours of live technical and business webinars, 150 something race industry leaders from around the world participating, and I think we had over 110 countries represented in attendance. As you said, after Jim Campbell, you can put the exclamation point. I mean, that's really the best way to.
Well, leave it to Jim to sum it up so perfectly. He basically, you could write a song based on what he said. That's the anthem of racing, and I think that I felt it, and I felt too, and we talked about it. All of us have that. Being with all these people that energize us and, make us love what we do has been a real privilege. And your vision, all of you, for coming up with this idea. And, Judy, I've just got to say, your ability to bring everybody together, you are just magic. I watch you work here, and it's stunning.
I think I've just been doing this a long time.
You sure have, but you've earned a lot of trust and respect. And John, I can tell you can make the driest subject interesting. I thought, I'm not going to watch this. I'm just going to work. And then I realized I was going to write an email, and I haven't, because I've been sitting there watching something I didn't think I cared about for 45 minutes. And that's interesting.
Thank you very much. I enjoy it. And, you come into this industry and it takes a couple of weeks to figure out what's going on. And basically coming in the racing industry, everybody's smarter about racing than I am. So the race engine builders know more than I do. The race car builders know more than I do. The parts manufacturers know more than I do. And I just have always had just a great respect how they just don't stop innovating, and just for the kind of people they are. And it took me a couple of weeks in the racing industry to tell myself, okay, I'm someplace really special when it comes to the people. And then just the fun of watching the innovation over the years. I'm just engaged.
Me too. So what are we going to do next week, everybody?
I don't know. But, I just want to say I'm truly so proud of all our supplier friends that are stepping out of their comfort zone and doing this webinar. And it's new. It's new to all of us.
They did great, Judy. They did. One of the.
And our hosts were so gracious and just walked them through and made them feel at ease. So, so appreciative.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, and, I watched so many of these just to kind of get a sense of what was happening all the way through. And I realized all these products are content. There's a story behind the product. There's a passion behind how they were created. There's a sensibility about what the audience or the customer wants. It's really interesting. And buying ads is great too, but telling your story is so important. I mean, we live in the era where it's possible for you to tell your story in a human way where people care. And getting people to care is the first step to getting them to want something, I think. And that's what we saw a lot of here. It was a very interesting exercise. And I think the other thing that I think this was a campfire for the culture. We all gathered around this campfire and realized we're going to be okay. We're going to be great. And we're going to come out of this strong and better for the experience we've just been through. And I can't thank you all enough for just the courage and the commitment it took. You're racers too. You went out there and you solved a big problem for the entire industry by doing this. You gave it a voice.
Registering on EPARTRADE is easy. Fill out your name, email, phone number, and create a secure password. Next, select your business type. Choose supplier if you're looking to display products or services and connect with buyers. Choose racing business if you're looking to find new parts and connect with suppliers. Choose race team if you own or are a member of a professional racing team. Begin typing your company name. We most likely already have your company in our database, which you can select from the drop-down. Then, enter your job title. Choose Claim Company if you'll be editing your company profile. Other members of your company can choose Join Company if they'd like to use EPARTRADE as well. You can view and agree to our terms of use here. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, choose Accept. Click Register Now, and your registration will be submitted for approval. You'll need to confirm your email once it goes through. To keep our platform industry only, you'll be approved shortly after. If we require additional proof of business, we'll reach out. Welcome to EPARTRADE.